The coming tsunami, preparing for the global waves of the AI Compliance Act. Why the Global AI Compliance Act wave is no longer speculation. The era of wait and see in artificial intelligence is officially over. Across the globe, regulators are moving from abstract ethical guidelines to hard-coded legal requirements. We are no longer facing a single set of rules. We are facing a series of rolling surges that comprise the Global AI Compliance Act framework. This movement signals a fundamental change in how regulated industries, specifically banking and finance, must deploy and govern their digital agents. On August 2nd, 2026, the high-risk provisions of the EU AI Act become enforceable. While many US-based institutions previously viewed this as a European issue, the reality is that the AI Compliance Act wave is domestic as well. Banks that have spent the last 2 years piloting generative AI for customer service, fraud detection, and credit scoring are now staring down a 15-week countdown. For the first time, AI failure is being reclassified from a customer service friction point to a documented legal liability. 5 compliance waves. Crashing in 2026. To understand the scale of the challenge, leaders must look past a single jurisdiction. The following acts and regulations are either already in force or reaching critical enforcement milestones this year. EU Artificial Intelligence Act, August 2nd, 2026. The gold standard for global regulation. It introduces strict transparency, human oversight, and auditability requirements for high-risk financial AI, with fines reaching up to 7% of global turnover. Colorado AI Act/SB 24-205, June 30th, 2026. The first comprehensive U.S. state law requiring reasonable care to avoid algorithmic discrimination. Crucially, it creates a rebuttable presumption defense only for firms that can prove they have contemporaneous, runtime documentation. California AI Transparency and Governance Acts, January to August 2nd, 2026. A package of over 20 laws, including SB 942 and SB 53, requiring detailed training data transparency, provenance labeling for generative outputs, and catastrophic risk assessments for frontier models. Canada's Digital Security and Trust Framework, 2026 successor to AIDA. Following the expansion of OSFY. Guideline E. 23. Canadian financial institutions are now mandated to treat AI model risk as a core model risk management (MRM) pillar with specific board-level accountability. Brazil's Bill No. 2338/2023 and new high-impact bills, 2026 implementation. Brazil has accelerated its move toward a risk-based AI framework, establishing strict liability for failures in high-impact systems like credit scoring and insurance pricing, the hallucination tax, and global fines. The financial stakes of these coming waves are unprecedented. Under the high-risk provisions of the new AI Compliance Act standards, non-compliance can trigger fines of up to 7% of global annual turnover, or 35 million euros. For a Tier 1 international bank, this isn't just a regulatory slap on the wrist. It is a material event that threatens shareholder value, brand reputation, and board-level job security. Beyond the headline-grabbing fines, there is the hallucination tax. This is the hidden operational cost of having humans constantly verify AI outputs because the system isn't trusted to be autonomous. In a regulated environment, if you can't prove your AI follows the rules 100% of the time, you are forced to keep expensive, slow, human-in-the-loop processes. This effectively kills the ROI of your AI transformation. Are you prepared for the shift from policy to runtime? As discussed in our previous blog regarding compliance liability, most banks are structurally unprepared for these deadlines. A staggering 73.6% of financial institutions surveyed admit they are not confident that their AI initiatives meet current regulatory standards. The core of the problem lies in the policy runtime gap. Historically, compliance has been a documentary exercise, creating PDFs that sit on a SharePoint site and hoping employees follow them. However, the new wave of AI Compliance Act enforcement demands runtime governance. This means that the control must exist at the moment the transaction happens. Think of it this way. A written policy is a promise. A runtime control is a fact. If your AI chatbot skips a mandatory TCPA disclosure, fails to mention a specific APR requirement, or hallucinates a fee schedule in a live customer interaction, your board-approved policy document is irrelevant. The regulator only cares about the failure at the point of execution. In 2026, the audit trail is moving from the back office to the right path of the customer interaction. The hidden liability. Cost of digital neglect. CODN. At Callvu, we have quantified this risk through the cost of digital neglect, CODN. This metric measures the total dollar exposure resulting from AI and digital CX failures across regulated workflows as these laws take effect. CODN isn't just about the fines. It includes legal exposure, reputational damage, and the operational rework required when an AI system goes rogue. $46 billion maximum CODN exposure per year for a large U.S. bank. $300 million median CODN exposure per year for a mid-sized institution. 7%. Potential penalty of global annual turnover under the new acts. The CODN is accounting invisible until it becomes a line item. It doesn't appear on your P&L until a regulator issues a consent order or an MRIA, matter requiring immediate attention. MRIAs are particularly dangerous because they often attach to individual officers. Public consent orders follow, D&O insurance premiums spike, and plaintiff firms begin using the regulator's findings as a template for class action lawsuits. The next 15 weeks, your compliance roadmap. To get ahead of the August 2nd deadline and the American acts hitting even sooner, AI transformation leaders must pivot from model risk management to interaction governance. You need to map every customer-facing AI deployment to the specific regulations it touches, not just at the system level, but at the interaction level. This requires moving away from retrospective log reviews. If you are checking what your AI said last Friday to see if it was compliant, you are already too late. You have already committed the violation. To survive the AI Compliance Act era, you need a deterministic completion layer. This is a policy layer that sits between the AI and the customer. It decouples the intelligence, the LLM, from the enforcement, the business rules. This ensures that mandatory disclosures are delivered by construction and that auditable audit trails are produced for every single interaction. Quantify your exposure. Today, the waves are coming and the shoreline is changing. Don't wait for an examiner to tell you how much risk is on your books as these waves of legislation crash ashore. The first step to survival is visibility. You need to know your number. At Callvu, we've developed a tool that allows you to model your bank's exposure in about 2 minutes. By inputting your institution's size, AI deployment footprint, and customer interaction volumes, you can see the specific dollar amount you are carrying in digital neglect. Visit codn.callvu.com to get your institution's cost of digital neglect estimate. Get ahead of the tsunami. Build a deterministic defense before the August deadline turns your AI asset into a compliance liability.